The first snowball struck my shoulder just as I heard my widowed neighbor scream my name. When I turned toward her porch, she wasn't waving for help anymore. She was standing barefoot in the deep snow, clutching the railing with one trembling hand, and before I could reach her, the porch light flickered out, leaving us in darkness while the blizzard swallowed the street. Some moments in life arrive without warning and quietly change everything you thought you knew about people, loneliness, and second chances. This is one of those moments. It's a story about a woman who spent years convincing everyone she was fine after losing the love of her life, and about an ordinary neighbor who thought he was only shoveling snow until one desperate whisper revealed a heartbreak hidden behind a brave smile. Stay with me until the end, because what happened that night reminded me that sometimes the greatest act of kindness isn't solving someone's problems, it's simply refusing to walk away when they need you most. Before we begin, if you enjoy emotional and inspiring stories like this, make sure to support the channel by liking this video, subscribing, and sharing your thoughts in the comments. Your support helps us bring more powerful stories of kindness, hope, and humanity. The storm had started before sunrise, covering our quiet neighborhood beneath layers of white that erased sidewalks, fences, and familiar landmarks. Most families stayed inside with hot coffee and warm blankets, watching the weather reports that warned everyone to avoid unnecessary travel. I had planned to do the same until I looked through my living room window and noticed the untouched driveway next door. Margaret had lived there for nearly 30 years. Everyone on the street knew her as the cheerful retired librarian who baked cinnamon cookies for neighborhood children every December. But after her husband, Robert, passed away 2 winters earlier, something changed. She still smiled whenever someone greeted her, yet her laughter disappeared. The flower garden they once cared for together slowly filled with weeds. The porch swing where they spent summer evenings remained perfectly still. We exchanged polite conversations whenever our paths crossed, but she never accepted invitations for dinner or neighborhood gatherings. "I'm doing just fine," she always insisted with a gentle smile that never quite reached her eyes. Looking at the growing pile of snow in her driveway, I couldn't stop thinking about her living alone. So I grabbed my shovel, wrapped a scarf around my neck, and made my way outside. The wind fought every step. Snowflakes stung my face like tiny needles while fresh snow covered the ground almost as quickly as I cleared it. After nearly 40 minutes, I finally finished her driveway and started clearing the walkway leading to her front porch. Just then the front door opened. "There you are," Margaret called softly. I looked up to see her wearing an oversized winter sweater, her silver hair tied into a loose bun. She held 2 steaming mugs. "You've been working all this time without a break." "I figured you'd need a clear path if the power went out," I answered. She smiled with genuine warmth for the first time since I'd known her. "You always notice the things other people overlook." She handed me one of the mugs. "Hot chocolate," she said. "Robert's favorite recipe." The words seemed to surprise even her. For a second she stared into the swirling steam, as though memories were rising with it. "I'm sorry," I said quietly. She shook her head. "No. Don't be sorry. Sometimes saying his name out loud keeps him close." We stood silently, sipping hot chocolate while thick snow continued falling around us. Suddenly the lights inside both our houses blinked twice before everything went dark. The entire neighborhood vanished into blackness. Margaret glanced toward the empty windows. I suppose the power finally gave up. The temperature was dropping quickly. "You should come stay at my place," I offered. "I have a fireplace." She hesitated. I couldn't impose. "You wouldn't be." Before she could answer, the wind slammed her front door against the wall with a loud crack. She gasped. "My medication." "What?" "It's inside. I left it on the kitchen counter." She hurried toward the doorway, but the icy porch steps had become dangerously slippery. Her foot slid. I lunged forward just in time to catch her before she hit the frozen ground. For a brief moment she held onto my coat with surprising strength. Neither of us spoke. Then she whispered, almost embarrassed, "Thank you." Inside her house, the darkness felt strangely heavy. I found a flashlight in my pocket while she searched the kitchen for her medicine. Its narrow beam revealed framed photographs lining the hallway. Every picture included Robert. Young Robert dancing with Margaret beneath autumn leaves. Robert holding a newborn niece. Robert laughing while grilling hamburgers in the backyard. The final frame stopped me. It showed Robert sitting beside me during our annual neighborhood barbecue nearly 5 years earlier. I'd forgotten he had taken me under his wing after I moved into the neighborhood following my divorce. "He liked you," Margaret said from behind me. I turned. "He said you reminded him that people could rebuild their lives." I didn't know he thought that. He didn't say many things out loud. She smiled sadly. But he noticed everything. A loud crack echoed outside. Tree branches snapped somewhere across the street. Margaret flinched. "We should probably head to your fireplace." I nodded. Together we stepped back into the storm. The wind had grown even stronger. Halfway across the yard she suddenly stopped walking. I looked back. She wasn't looking at the snow. She was staring at her own house. "I left every room exactly the way Robert left it," she admitted quietly. "What do you mean?" "His slippers are still beside the bed." She swallowed hard. "His favorite jacket is hanging behind the door." Another pause. "I even keep winding his old clock because, if it stops ticking." Her voice broke before she finished. I finally understood. She hadn't simply been living alone. She had been living beside memories she couldn't bear to disturb. Carefully I stepped closer. "You don't have to carry all of this by yourself." For several long seconds she said nothing. The storm howled around us while snow collected on our shoulders. Finally she looked at me with tears she had hidden from the world for far too long. "I've spent 2 years pretending I'm strong because everyone expected me to move on." She wiped her eyes. "But some nights this house feels so quiet that I talk to empty rooms just to hear another voice." The confession hung between us like fragile glass. There was nothing clever to say. So I simply opened my arms. She hesitated only a heartbeat before accepting the hug. Not because she needed rescuing. Because she needed someone willing to stand beside her in the storm.